Hey, Bobby Manning here. We have a special edition of the Garden Report alongside Dome Theory collaboration episode. We are going to try to not make this a 3-hour show, but this is a big topic. This is one our founder, CEO, Nick Gelso is excited about. I always love an opportunity to get him on here. This is our third Dome Theory together. Many Garden Reports. We've done a million Garden Reports together, so we get the familiarity here, but it's been a while since we've done like a full-length one together, Nick. Welcome in.
Bobby, it's a long time since I'm on a live broadcast. And, before we forget, to the listeners here, we may be talking history now, but on Wednesday, Bobby will be at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's a great
chilling
time
with
to introduce that.
and the crew. Yeah.
Sherrod will be out there too. I just got a text from Sherrod. So Max,
we got Sherrod, we got
Sherrod,
you, Max.
all
Max
three
says
of us will be out there.
specifically, well, I see Bobby. I said, you will. So he'll be looking for you, bro. And
how could he miss me?
MSG,
Especially if I wear the hat.
You got to wear the hat.
I'm not wearing the hat.
But so tune in, follow Bobby, real Bob Manning, right? And then follow Celtics CLNS. Follow me just because I'm a dick. And NBA history, man. Check out the NBA history channel, NBA history on CLNS. So
this
let's
is going
go, Bobby.
live on there right now. We got a lot of good stuff coming up. Historic documentary style stuff, storytelling throughout the season here, along with the Celtics coverage that we're going to be doing as a team here. And yeah, opening night's tomorrow. I just heard you say Al Horford's out, right, officially?
Horford's out, which we knew, right, with COVID.
Jaylen Brown's probably not. What's the point? Why push him, right? Like, you get the whole
Bobby, we could really go off on the whole COVID topic, but let's just not.
Yeah.
You got you'd be doing Garden Reports on that. John will have you doing that topic all season until it's over, which I think if everybody would continue to get vaccinated, Kyrie, we will become an endemic soon after the new year.
Oh, you've been waiting to use that word. All right, let's get started. The NBA, Adam Silver had his opening press conference today, but within the next few days, they're releasing this 75th anniversary team. They had a 25th, correct? 35th, and a 50th. So it's been 25 years since we last got the NBA's archival greatest players of all time list. And frankly, as we make our own list here today, a ton of the all-time great players have happened or, carved out their careers since 1996 when they did that, including, I think, 2 of my top 10 guys. We're not going to count them down in order, but it's really interesting if we look back on that top 50 team that you focused on here going into this episode and then bring in all the names that are missing from that, whether it was because they didn't make that team or because they started playing after that. Yeah, you have a real solid list here of about 100 guys who could all qualify for the top 75 list. And I ended up boiling it down. Some of these are going to obviously be easier than others. But in the end, you have really just seen some incredible talent come into the league since 1996, including, I think, 3 or 4 of the 15 greatest players ever. And, arguably the greatest player ever in LeBron James. So let's start off at the top, the easy ones. Best player ever.
We're going with the 50, or are we going with the 20? We're starting with the top 50, right?
We're going to start with the 50, the ones who are still remaining, the locks, and then I'm going to start mixing in some of the easy, newer guys.
Should we do the disclaimer that these are not in order?
No, these aren't in order.
However, I will give tidbit 35, the NBA 35, 1980 maybe, or 79. Bill Russell voted the greatest player of all, the GOAT, greatest player of all time. They did have a number 1 then, but 50 they didn't. So we won't either. We're going to name them out of order.
The Last Dance star, he was on the 50, and some still think he's the greatest player of all time. You obviously have a great debate now, but Michael Jordan is going to be on the 75 list. The GOAT to many. I still think you can call him the GOAT. I had this argument the other day. I think you could call Jordan the GOAT. You could call LeBron the BOAT, the best of all time, because he's going to have the best. he's going to have the best stat sheet. Yeah, Kareem's right up there, too.
Where's Bill? Where's Wilt? Don't disrespect Wilt.
Who's your greatest ever? We won't go off on a tangent here, but who's your best ever?
In what year? You have to give me the criteria. Is it single
who has the greatest career?
Oh, Bill Russell, without question. No one is ever going to touch that. But if you're talking skill level, I mean, Bill Russell was also an intensely amazing athlete. And they love to say that he couldn't. Back then they didn't jump, they didn't run. Well, you ain't watching much. Get on my history our history channel and check out some chase down blocks from Bill Russell in the '60s.
He had a great picture on his Instagram too, talking about his high jump total because he went way up there for a block. Man, I wish we had Bill Russell's block numbers.
And we never will have the full look at them, but Wilt will beat him because Bill Russell was a selective shot blocker, calculated, and he very much so utilized the intimidation factor sometimes instead of the block. If he could not keep the ball in bounds, he wasn't blocking it. Wilt swatted it out of the arena. Anyway,
Bill's on this list. Bill's going to be on this list. Real quick on him. I actually read a piece about Rob today. They're telling Rob with the Celtics when he blocks the ball, keep it in bounds. Zach Lowe had that in his piece today. Yeah, they think Rob's swatting it out of bounds too much, not letting them get out on the break. That's obviously something they're trying to do here. But that's how Bill kind of got the fast break going.
That's fundamental. And it's also avoiding a turnover. And I think it would reset the shot clock if I swatted the ball out of bounds.
No, it stays.
No. Okay, does it reset it to 14 or does it stay right where it was?
No, 14's only if you get an offensive rebound off the
Okay,
run.
but on that point, and I'll just give this away now, I had, before you even mentioned this, I had Dwight added on my 25, and because he used to block them out of bounds, I removed him from the list.
From
not
the
on my 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's one of the more interesting ones on here. So Bill was on here, 11 championships, 5 MVPs. He must have been before the All-NBA teams, right? Because he only got 3 first teams, 1 All-Defense, and 4 rebounding titles, 2 titles as a player coach. Final stat line, career 15, 22, and 4. Of course, we don't have the blocks. 22 rebounds a game.
Yeah, I mean, and Wilt beat him there, too. The only thing Wilt Chamberlain could not beat Bill Russell on was
championships.
Games. I mean, when you look at LeBron, back to LeBron, right now, I mean, he's had how many titles? 4?
Yep.
Okay, so LeBron, he has more titles, but the most comparable career in regards to championships and finals appearances to Jerry West. No one has more finals appearances, I don't think, than Jerry West, but no one has more losses than Jerry West. And I believe LeBron has a under 500 record in the NBA Finals, doesn't he?
Yep, he is 4 and is it 8? His loss record's high.
Would you put Jerry West as the boat? You're gonna put LeBron there. The logo's named after Jerry.
How many years did West play?
14, probably around there.
Just remember, we are in year 19 of LeBron's career, and he's still a top 5 player.
I fight with Max on this all the time because he starts with KG versus Bird. Bird played 13 seasons. Come on, it's not even close. Russell played 13 seasons. Wilt, who is just incredible, only played 13 or 14 seasons. So these guys have had a lot of time to really, really bring together more statistics and break records.
Yeah,
but and one interesting tidbit: nobody owns categories more in the NBA history than Kevin Garnett. When I say that, I mean he is the only man on that category. They're random stats, but they're like 25 and 15 and or quadruple doubles, stuff like that. Like I'm making it up, but it's like obscure stuff that only Sean Grandy would know, or whoever's feeding him his stats. But it's true. No one more than Garnett. People don't talk enough about his career. All right, baby, let's do it.
All right, Jordan. GOAT, 6 titles, 5 MVPs, 10 all-first teams, 9 all-defense teams, and a defensive player of the year. He's going to be one of the few guards that have won defensive player of the year. His defensive accolades are incredible.
I think the only player in NBA history to win MVP and defensive player of the year in the same season.
That's probably true. 33 points a game in the playoffs.
Well, look, and he had a season close to 40.
37, I think it was that year.
37 or 38.
So it's pretty interesting, too. LeBron, we go down him. He's right up here in this top 10. 4 titles, 4 MVPs, 17 All-Stars. He led the league in assists one year. 13 all-first teams, 5 all-defense. He's got the 3-1 finals comeback. I think that's the greatest comeback in finals history. And 3 titles with 3 teams, which I think is impressive. His playoff stat line,
Five
28
match.
points a game, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Him and Jordan nearly have the same playoff stat line.
No, Jordan has, what did you say, 34? 33?
33. LeBron's got 28, but he's got 7 assists. So that's, those 4 or 5 points there.
Well, Jordan, how many assists him? 4?
5.
4 or 5. Looking at LeBron, he definitely belongs on the list, no question.
Is he the greatest passer ever?
No. Pass?
Is he up there?
Yeah. I respect LeBron. This whole network is founded on being a hater of LeBron. The truth is, over the years, I've learned to respect him, quite a bit because for obvious reasons.
Nobody really hates LeBron anymore except like Skip Bayless.
I mean, LeBron could be hateable at times with the narcissism. But
he gets annoying, he says some.
When you have guys like Kyrie competing against him, or even Tatum, the way that he bitches at the referees, kind of takes a little bit of the heat off LeBron. But it does show that LeBron has been teaching or grooming inadvertently the new generation.
All right, also on this top 10, Kareem, 6 titles, 6 MVPs, 2 Finals MVPs. Who are the other ones? Magic.
Magic is there. I mean, and you're doing this in order, but not in order by number.
Not in order. No.
Decades. Yeah, Larry's there.
Larry's there. We got 5 all defenses, leading the blocks, 4 times
Wait a minute,
for Kareem.
Wait. Are you giving Kareem or Bird stats?
Kareem.
All right, go Kareem because he's my GOAT. Really. When you're
most
talking
points,
skill,
most games, most minutes. I think LeBron's the only guy who has a real chance at catching him, and he probably doesn't.
Bobby,
how many years did Kareem play? 20?
20. My first real recollection, remembering watching the finals, was Kareem in 85. I was like 8 years old. He was 38 and dominated the Celtics. Dominated. Basically, they were up here. They had a layover here because the first 2 games were here. And they got killed, the Memorial Day Massacre, or whatever they call it. And Boston radio, y'all fans love to beat up on the talking heads. They beat the shit out of Kareem for all 2 games. He was washed up. He was done. Dude killed us. Killed the Celtics. Kareem belongs.
I watched him play. Got the sky hook. Just a menace out there.
That sky hook was
greatest center ever.
It's between him and Wilt and Russ. I mean, if you're looking at overall body of work, you're always going to say Russell. But talent and skill, it's only between 2 people, and I think 3: Hakeem, Wilt, and Kareem.
Wilt, 100-point game, 1 Finals MVP, 2 titles, 11 rebounding titles, 4 MVPs regular season, 7 first team, 2 all defense. Just the most absurd stats in NBA history when you look at it.
And it needs to be noted because I can see the youngins.
He got early too, which kind of like he hasn't been around for like the modern fans.
Well, he's dead.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He died pretty early, so like the modern fans,
Bobby, before he died,
see him in the public eye.
He was everywhere because he was on a mission to kind of solidify his legacy without trashing Russell because they had gotten beyond that. And it was really Kareem that took the beatings from him. But he was hilarious. Like, he'd be on late night talk shows. He'd be on variety shows. You'd see him playing volleyball. There is no question, and I have been on a Wilt obsession since COVID started, I think I told you. And there's no question after watching hours and hours and hours of footage and games, Wilt Chamberlain would dominate today. He is maybe right there with LeBron and Shaq as the best athlete.
He was so strong. They say he was 275 in his prime. I saw.
He says 300. That's Wilt, though.
Yeah.
Banged 20,000 women.
He's got that record bench press that like everybody listens to today, and they're like, that didn't happen.
No, I mean, think about it. He did it in front of the Schwartz, the governor, and the governor said it was true. He did it. He did lift that much weights. I mean, he beat Arnold. I could do a whole show on Wilt and the amount of disrespect he gets, but it kind of runs a little opposite, Bobby, to my philosophy, which has always been championships, right? Because Wilt only won 2.
Bill is on this list. We mentioned Bill. We could talk about Bill for a long time, of course.
Yeah. A good thing coming out this week, maybe tomorrow, we did a recap and kind of like a little mini doc, 6-7 minutes on the Celtics boycotting basketball in Lexington, Kentucky, the true story behind it. So check out the NBA History Channel. Maybe we'll put that on the main too, or on the CLNS Media website. New website.
2 Celtics make this list. Larry, of course. 3 championships,
Bob.
2 finals MVPs. Who won the other one?
Our boy Cornbread. His new book is out. I'm the
3 straight
I'm
MVPs. Is he the only one ever to do that?
Larry? No.
Yeah.
Kareem. He joins Wilt and Bill Russell. Larry Bird, Wilt, and Bill Russell were the only 3 players to ever do that. Win
9
3
first teams. How long was his career, Larry?
13 or 14. I mean, if you look at it, it was 12 playing, but 14 on the books.
Mm-hmm.
At least 13. Got Bobby. What's impressive about Bird and what most people leave off their notes of how great he was he's all defense his first several years.
Was he?
Yeah, check it out. I think he was second team, first team maybe once, second team 2 or 3 times. And Larry Bird would excel in today's game, especially defensively. Because
you're right. 3-time all-defense second team.
And if you look at Larry Bird's 88, 89 stat line, tell me that's not LeBron James' stat line to a T. Larry Bird LeBron James most imitates Bird, and I get killed for saying that because LeBron is so athletic. Yeah. Bird was athletic prior to the injuries. Around 85, you started seeing the athleticism go away. But when you look at stat line, strength, passing ability, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were the best passers in the last how many years, right? They're really, really close. And people like to say Magic and Michael. I see it more being Bird. They played the same position. They both were could cross over between the 3 and the 4. Bird at the end of his career played power forward, not small forward. Okay,
so
next.
Everybody on this list has been or was on the top 50 list already. I'm going to start adding to it soon with new players and seeing if Nick checks them off.
Ooh.
We'll start checking them off pretty quickly. Magic is on here too, of course, though.
Yeah,
Magic Johnson.
You're doing the top 10 right now, right?
Yep. Record 11 assists per game. 2 steals leaders, 4 assist leaders, 5 titles.
Magic, John Stockton, Pistol Pete, Larry
I never
Bird,
knew Magic came back and played. Did he play with Kobe one year?
No.
In 96? That was the year before Kobe. Yeah. He came back.
Coach Kobe, I think.
Yeah, that crossover would have been amazing, but he didn't fit in when he came back. That's a great book by Jeff Perlman.
Another thing that hits well on the History Channel is and people forget this really easily, just how scary the Magic HIV thing was, and especially for his, opponents and teammates. A lot of them really didn't want to see him play basketball. He attempted to come back the following season, and in preseason he got a cut, bled. They did the new protocols for the HIV, and saw the commotion that it caused. And man, did it ever. And there's the interview that was prime time, 60 Minutes or Chris Wallace, where he's basically retracting it or ending his comeback for that reason. And then 2 or 3 years later, he came back and played center and power forward.
So that is our list for the top 50 players who are involved in the top 10 here.
We only named like 10.
No, we got 8. So 2 I'm adding to the top 10 here. And again, we're not doing this in order, but the top 10 is important to me. I'm adding Kobe Bryant to the top 75, of course, and the top 10 here. Does he get your approval? Of course he does.
Yeah, he's there. Who you
rest in peace.
Kobe down? That's the question, right? Isn't that how we're doing this or no?
Yeah, so he's our first addition to the top 75. We go up to 25, and then we're going to have to start fighting to kick people off. So Kobe, 5 titles, 2 finals MVPs, 11 all-first teams. He has 9 all-defensive teams, believe it or not. 2 scoring championships. Probably the greatest scorer I ever saw.
Mm-hmm. Your era, yeah, I would say so. Closest to Jordan.
He had so many things in his bag, that mid-range turnaround.
He wasn't efficient, though. He was not efficient.
No, he wasn't. He could just put up points in droves. That's a good question. Kobe's all
because his volume of shot attempts was.
Oh my God! Remember Game 7 of the 2010 Finals? He shot like 30%. Ron Artest got him out of there. His
Celtics
career
should have
field
won
goal
that.
is 44. Not terrible. That's probably higher than
Not
Tatum's.
terrible. I wonder when it tailored off. The thing that it was with Kobe was it seemed like when they were in big games, he forced a lot. You know, you wonder how many titles they would have won if Shaq stayed in shape and they could have gotten along.
Shaq's
I mean, he
on here
won one
too,
in
of
Miami,
course.
so they could have won one more.
That's
right?
incredible. Two of the top. Well, obviously Kareem and
Magic, Bird,
Magic did as well.
and Bird and Russell.
No, but I mean played together at the same time in their
Oh,
primes. That's just
well,
incredible.
yeah, that is. I mean, and couldn't, and they fucked it up. Excuse my mouth. You know, you think about it, they fucked up a good thing.
They
You
could
know,
have
we
gone
say
even
something like
further.
this. Only we could mess this up. They had to say that to each other at some point because they did. And as much as it was Shaq's, you know, sometimes lackadaisical laziness showing up out of shape, not being concerned about rebounds, Kobe was just as damaging in attitude and diva-ness and miserableness. And it was just basketball had turned at that point more towards drama off the court than on.
Yeah.
Some
I'm
people
adding.
love that.
This is tough. I saw Sporting News did their list. They had Kevin Durant in the top 10. He's obviously in the top 75. I'm putting Tim Duncan in the top 10. The greatest, aside from Bill, but for this era, like this modern era, probably the greatest defensive player ever. Could defend big men,
Kevin Garnett was
fours.
Kevin Garnett.
You think so?
I do.
Duncan just had the longevity, centerpiece of more championship teams.
KG played 21 seasons, bro.
Yeah, but he got hurt and tailed off toward the end, especially on the defensive end of the floor.
We forget how good Kevin Garnett was with Minnesota because as Celtics guys who covered the Celtics, we caught the last day of his prime in 08. You know, we never saw him look again, but he was so good in Minnesota. They just couldn't get past so many great Western opponents. Yeah, I would agree. Who did you just say?
I put Duncan. Yeah, in the top 10. 5 titles. We'll get to that.
You're running the show, bro.
Kevin Durant makes this list. Probably the second greatest scorer I ever saw. I mean, his efficiency when we compare him to Kobe is unbelievable. And then after this Achilles tear, he came out and shot 53% from the field. Clearly the greatest 7-foot, most versatile 7-foot scorer we've ever seen. 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs, 1 MVP. When you see these modern guys, the MVPs just get so much more competitive. The numbers go way down. Even LeBron only won, 4? You would think LeBron would. It's a lot, but you would think he would even have more in this 19-year run that he's had here. 4 scoring titles for Durant. That is a huge number. Greatest scorer of this era, the 2010s.
A huge number and a winner. Because he won how many titles in Golden State?
2 in Golden State. It took him a long time though. He had to join that big collective, and now to really solidify himself, he's got to win one in Brooklyn here.
Oh, that's not gonna happen, bro.
You don't think so?
I told you it was a dumpster fire. It was a little too late on that, but it happened. It's happened. Did you see Harden's face when they asked him if he talks to Kobe if he talks to Kyrie?
Will Kyrie make this list?
Absolutely not. And not. I mean, what did I tell you the other day on text? Max is right. He is the most skilled Boston Celtic of all time. Skilled, natural born skilled ability. He doesn't make this list because he's been injured so much. It would be like putting, I don't know, like Sidney Wicks was a really good player in college. You know, you put him, it'd be like putting does Dennis Rodman make the list? There's so many players that we could be. I would pick Dennis. I mean, let's move off Kyrie because I don't want to get miserable.
We'll get to him. Steph Curry makes this list.
Yeah,
greatest shooter ever. Changed the game. You could even make a top 10 argument with him for how you talk about Bill changing the game. Steph's probably as impactful changing the game, the way it looks, the way it's played, how deep shooters shoot. Even the other night, did you see that highlight of him just dribbling through everybody, kind of switching on 3 different guys and shaking them out of their shoes and then heading to the net? A great finisher, too. Very underrated in his game. He is.
And a great teammate, a great man from everything I understand. Good guy. You know, I mean, the thing about Steph is Steph changed the style of play. Wilt Chamberlain changed the game. They changed the rules for Wilt. Same with Kareem in college. To a certain degree, same with Bill with blocking. They brought in the goaltend, right? So Steph definitely. We could argue whether it's a positive change or negative. Doesn't matter. Steph Curry
For
made it
him,
positive for him. For
yes.
him, it's positive, right? And that's all that matters.
2015, watching him that year, the year before, 2016 too, because Durant got there in 17. When Curry was running the show, winning MVPs, breaking the wins record, which is one of his accolades too in 2016, with 73 wins, I think it was that year, right? So they were the most exciting basketball I've ever watched. The ball whipping across the floor, him shooting it up from the moon, and just the way it splashed down. The runs they would go on, it'd be like 26-4 runs that they would rip off with that crowd going crazy in Oakland. I don't think
And
I'll
that's
ever
crazy
see
stuff.
basketball that exciting again.
You will.
And he didn't have the
You
greatest team
will.
ever. Clay
Yeah.
was an all-time shooter. He had Barnes, Green's great defender, but
They're not a
Curry
great offense.
carried that
Curry,
team to the greatest record ever.
He is a great example of what leadership is in attitude and actions, right?
Mhm.
He just they respect him. You rarely hear a negative thing about him. I mean, Draymond picks that up, and KD did when he was there. I mean, Steph is a game changer, literally. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely on this list.
All right, let's start ripping through some names here. Jerry West, you said, is here. He is staying. I think we both agree with
my
that.
list. Where are you getting my list from? It's in front of me.
No, you mentioned it earlier.
Okay, all right. Jerry West has.
Hakeem makes this list, obviously. Greatest low post arsenal ever.
Oh, yeah. Even more than McHale, for sure.
All right, let's make
by
some
the way,
more additions.
I'm only smoking on camera to honor Johnny Most because he's on my all-time broadcast list.
All right. We have added
We're doing
5
all-time lists for this whole season.
We have added 5 new players. I'm leaving some of the newer guys for the end. Let us go with Dirk. Dirk makes the top 75 list, right?
Because you know what? That shame on me. Dirk should be on there. See how you forget? I love Dirk. So when the Celtics sucked, the Patino years, the Patino years in particular, but some of the ML Carr years, really the Patino years when he did what he did to Red, that son of a bitch, I followed the Mavericks because of Dirk. When Dirk was young, he was you want to talk about changing style of game, I mean, there you go. I mean, there's a big man who can pass and dribble like a guard and shoot outside. And
the European impact, opening the door to some of the best players we've seen, and maybe the best player in the NBA now. Luka Doncic.
But how many are on this list?
We'll see. Coolest thing I've seen covering the Celtics so far, I've seen a couple of really cool things so far in just a couple of years. Yeah. Tatum 60-point. Right up there with that, though. Watching Dirk kind of hand the baton off to Luka in Boston. Dirk played his last game here. I don't think so. No.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. His last game in Boston. Luka was having that amazing rookie year. He got to play alongside Dirk that year, and they came to Boston, and Dirk was so bad in that game. It took him like 7, 8, 9 threes to make that.
Terrible.
The crowd kept going crazy. They really wanted him to make a shot.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about the epitome of great fans. The Celtics fans invented Beat LA to honor the Sixers, and they cheered Dirk Nowitzki until he took what was he, like 1 for 14? I mean, he was clanking them. I think he airballed one. They were all over the place.
All right, let's keep rolling. Oscar Robertson, he is staying.
Oh, has to.
The original triple-double master. And
no, the only triple-double.
We're going to go with the other one later. Just hold on. We've had 6 new names here so far. Dr. J is staying. The original.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Why'd you give that look? I know you never saw him, but I mean, I saw him lying.
He's a guy, like, He
gets forgotten a lot.
He does, but I know.
Not as a human.
just from watching like the impact of, even in those outdoor venues in New York City, Rucker
Park,
the kind of
dude.
impact he had in those kind of events.
Imagine being on. First of all, imagine us two white boys hanging out at Rutgers Park shooting hoops. Me, the fat Italian. Anyway, and then up rolls not just Dr. J, but Wilt, Clyde Frazier. I mean, that park was. If you've not seen documentaries on Rutgers Park, you're an idiot.
So baseball did an outdoor game in Iowa. Oh, well, outdoor game. Every game's outdoor, but they did a game in Iowa at the Field of Dreams. They should do an NBA game at Rucker Park. Jaylen Brown just redesigned it. Did you see that?
He did.
Yeah, he just helped redesign the floor with a Harlem native, A$AP Ferg, a rapper from Harlem.
I mean, as much as Jaylen is great on the court, man, do I love that dude off the court. He's just awesome.
I'll send you some pictures after. It looks awesome.
I'd love to see that.
They should do an outdoor. They should do an outdoor game.
Well, the problem with the outdoor game is the wind. Because
come on, one game in a season.
It can't count. They should do an
all-star game, maybe.
The all-star game would be very fun outside. They were talking about that when COVID
they'd have to put like some extra stands up. It couldn't just be the 1,000-person stand that they have there.
Dr. J, though, I want to say one thing before you move on from the doctor. People, if you add Dr. J's ABA and NBA stats together, he's there with the top 5. I mean, the dude was a perennial first team, perennial all-star. He was like a 2 or 3-time champion, I think, with the Nets. They retired his number, even though it was ABA. And when he got to the NBA, yes, he was in the middle of his prime. But before he started to really decline, he had amazing 5 or 6 years. It's just that he had to compete against the Lakers and the Celtics every year. It was tough.
We got Charles Barkley on here staying. Oh, man, I love him in The Last Dance. Everyone knows who Barkley is. Man, he has done his career justice on TV. That can really help your image long term. Karl Malone is staying.
I am being non-selfish by leaving him on. It's painful. He stays.
Longevity. Malone.
Moses Malone has to stay.
He is staying.
I'll just stop there. Yeah, first of all, he's the first player ever to come out of high school, too. People forget that. But people forget about Moses. He was...
Max played with Moses, right?
Against him. And Moses,
right.
As a person, he loved him, but hated playing against Max. He was a rubber band. I mean, Moses, he made his paycheck on offensive rebounds. And when he was with Houston and Philadelphia, they used to say he would purposely miss to pad his numbers on offensive boards. But he was undersized, don't forget. Strong. Really good. Moses was great.
You know who was so strong, too? David Robinson. Underrated legend.
Never discussed.
He would put up. He had a quadruple double, right, or maybe multiple, and he would like push that line regularly with the blocks because he'd be right up near 10 blocks.
Yeah, and don't forget he served his military stint, so he didn't enter the NBA until like '89 maybe, and he was older because he played for the Army or Navy, one of them. He's not on that list. He shouldn't be on the top 50.
He was on the top 50, wasn't he?
No, I don't think David Robinson was. If he was too young at that point, I think.
He was.
Was he? See, that's the thing with the top 50. I'm glad we're doing this because there's a couple names. When you talk about Shaq and then.
But they were right. They forecasted it. They saw what was coming.
They were right, but they were right now.
Yeah.
Like you look back at.
Well, we're gonna do that today too. We're gonna forecast some legends.
We're running out of time. Keep going.
Elgin Baylor.
He stays. Yeah.
He is
the original Jordan.
Isaiah Thomas.
Yep.
Isaiah Thomas is staying. People forget about when you say Isaiah Thomas now. People actually forget.
He was one of those guys who when he touched the ball.
Can I add another name?
Sure.
Allen Iverson.
He's on mine.
He is our 7th new addition. As far as speaking of Isaiah, small stature, dominant scorer, making an NBA Finals run.
Calvin Murphy and him, they own it.
Mm-hmm. This is a fun one for you. Scottie Pippen, is he staying?
He is highlighted in orange, which means caution, because I have to. He's going to wait till the end to see what we're adding. When we have to subtract, I might make the argument for removing Scottie Pippen. I always thought he was
Wow.
slightly overrated, and people think I'm crazy for saying that.
But that would be a big fall. But again, we have a lot of really good players joining this list. John Stockton, still most assists
Gotta stay.
ever, I believe, and most steals ever. That's a
Gotta stay.
huge pair of records. Those are the
Dirtiest
big
player.
five stats.
He was a ball tapper. He was a worse, dirty player.
And think of how great Jordan was that he stopped him and Malone from winning a championship there in '98 by the grit of his teeth.
His last shot, Jordan never, you think about it, his last shot, that iconic shot, right? But the thing about Jordan is, Bobby, let's face it, the league exploded in talent again. The second coming was with the KG Iverson blast, right? From 2000, late 90s into the 2008, 9, 10. The mid 90s was not a good era for basketball. So, and I'm not taking anything away from Jordan. He was the best, but he just didn't have the competition that the other guys had.
I got a good one here. Well, no, I'll save him. Patrick Ewing, lock.
Stays.
Best Nick ever, and
No,
still holding on to that. I think he is. Who's the best Nick ever?
Oh man, I mean, most unstoppable was Bernard King. You could say Walt Frazier was the best ever.
Was Bernard King on the top 50 list?
No, he's on mine now, though.
I added him too. How did he not make the top 50 list?
Because his career was very short due to that knee injury, and then he had a great comeback in the late 80s.
Come on. I mean, so many players on this list had short, great careers. I mean, Bird's not that short, but short compared to some of the greats.
Bernard never got past. Bernard was in Max's draft, so 77, got injured in 85. So he had 8 years. He had 8 prolific years. So yeah, he should have been on the top 50.
Another guy, so short but so great. Does he stay on this list? He was on the 50. Bill Walton.
He's on my orange label. He's there with Scotty.
He's hanging on.
He the Cinderella Trailblazer 77. He had that great season, but then it was injuries, and I still to this day think Bill Walton is the most overrated transaction in Celtics history. I think he was No, I know they love him, but he was the right player at that time, the right attitude. He did wonders for the locker room, got rid of some of the toxicity that was there with the leftovers from the 84 championship. But the greatest thing of Walton in Boston, his 81 games, was watching him and Larry Bird pass the damn ball. That was just gorgeous.
I'm about to add our 8th player. He's a head coach now. Steve Nash.
I forgot about Kidd and Nash.
Nash is one of the great pass point guards we've seen. Part of those dominant Suns teams.
Two-time MVP?
He's got 1 MVP, I believe.
I think you got to put Jason Kidd and...
Oh, did Nash win 2? He might have 2. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, his career was incredible.
His shocker was when they combined with Kobe and Dwight, and they couldn't make that work.
He was too old. It was right at the end.
Well, and Dwight was too.
And Dwight's back was broken.
Was too goofy. Yeah, he was goofy, and the personalities definitely did not mesh with Kobe. I mean, Nash is a stoner. I can't see him and Kobe. The intent, you know what I'm saying? And then there's Dwight was
weirdest trio ever you can think of.
Really. Yeah, but I remember that. Do you remember? Are you too young to remember that season?
No, I remember that year. I remember. I have that magazine in my closet, probably. Like, this is gonna be fun. That's one of the most infamous magazine covers ever.
And it was the only fun about it was making fun of them.
Yeah. Kid made the other one. Kid made the other one. He was coaching KG Pierce, Deron Williams, and Joe Johnson with the Nets. That was the other great, this is gonna be awesome cover that wasn't so awesome.
The Brooklyn team, they were just one. KG was just past his prime. Mm-hmm. Paul was still playing well at that point.
Yeah, and those guards were old too. They were and Brook Lopez hadn't really fit in the way he does now to a great team.
Yeah, I mean, and he has gotten into his own self as he's gotten older and less injuries. I think that he's found his style but when he was younger, he was just soft. Is Pau Gasol on this list?
I added him.
I wouldn't even retire his number in LA.
Paul Gasol is going to be our 10th, or no, 9th player added here. We
put
agree
him
on that one?
I just can't even put him. I mean, I can't believe they're retiring his number with all the numbers that are not retired in LA.
He's on the I think we kicked around the echelon of great forwards. He's like on that probably third echelon there, but he is on the bottom rung of this list. If we had to rank them, he'd probably be like 74th, 75th.
So he's orange. He's highlighted in orange.
Oh, yeah. He's right on the edge, but I think he's in there.
Go on, keep going, Bobby. We're running out of time here. We got a hard stop in 20 minutes. We
might have to do part 2. Is he staying?
No, I took him off and reluctantly took him off.
I have him on there still, but that can be on the change.
That's interesting. Why did you keep Bob Pettit? Do you know?
I don't know.
Well, Pettit, I'm not going to go too far because we don't have the time. Let's just put it this way. Before the Lakers started to lose in the finals to the Celtics, Bob Pettit was losing to the Celtics in the finals. I mean, he was in the finals, I think, 2 or 3 seasons against the first of the dynasty years. But, you know, I would say if there's someone that has to go, he's one of them.
We could switch him out. We could trade him eventually. Tracy McGrady, I'm at this list. You don't have him?
No, I have Melo.
We'll have to fight about that at the end. Melo's over him, but I do have McGrady as my 10th.
I'm surprised that you're not shocked I have Melo on the list.
It's hard to be. I mean, he's 10th in points ever. Like, how do you argue against that? Even if it's...
The problem with that argument, I struggle with that. Max gets me on all the time. When you got a guy that's played 20 years, he's going to be 10th. The thing about Melo is the second act of his career has been compelling.
He could get a ring this year. That's the only reason I'm invested in LA. It's the only reason I kind of want to see them to do well.
Against them becoming the best, most winningest franchise.
I can't. I know, and I don't want.
You know the pain I'm feeling here because I want to root for that team.
He's the only reason. I'm not rooting for.
He's not my only reason. That team is more close in style to my era than anything we've seen in a long time. They're just the AARP team, and the Lakers legends who I talk to regularly are convinced that is a winning recipe. I don't see. All right, that's a whole nother podcast. I'll stop.
All right, who else is going to stay on here? We got a couple easy ones. John Havlicek, he is staying.
Oh, come on, yeah.
Rick Barry.
Yes, of course. I don't like him, but he has to stay.
Clyde Drexler.
I kept him reluctantly. Never won anything soft.
Made the NBA Finals, though.
But a bad. Jordan was retired that year, I think.
No, Jordan beat him. Remember, that was the Blazers Bulls one.
Yeah, and then he got there with the Rockets too.
Oh, so he won a couple times, yeah.
I think he won a title with the Rockets.
Kevin McHale.
Oh,
staying. George Gervin.
Staying.
George
So
McCann.
Here's my criteria, Bobby. I like how we're flying now, but real quick because we're running out of time. My criteria is almost like yours with Steph. When I could see George Gervin in today's superstars, it means he has to stay, right? Because he helped to invent the style of play. Go ahead.
I'm about to add somebody. I know we're going to agree on this one. Bob McAdoo. How did he not make the top 50?
That's the whole reason. Can we make the rest of the show about Bob and do a part 2?
How do you not make the 50?
In all seriousness, you gotta, as much as I tease on Shaq, you gotta give the guy credit. He flat out said, how the hell in my 4th year in the NBA, never having won anything, was I on the top 50 and Bob McAdoo was not? I could go on for the rest of this show about Bob. I'll do a whole episode on him.
Do you think the NBA will put him on?
Oh, 100. In my write-up, when you look at it, you'll see there's no list in order, right? But I think if the NBA, they're going to do their 25 players at a time, I feel like Bob McAdoo is going to be in that second ring of 25 because he designed. Let's just real quick. I want you really fast for the young audience. Please tell them. Just read his accomplishments. McAdoo.
All right, let's keep this rolling. We might have to do a part 2 next.
Go, read them quick.
Oh, Bob McAdoo. All right. Yeah, Rookie this is a big part of our show here.
Yep. This is the show. This and Dominique Wilkins are the 2 snubs that drove me nuts.
Bob McAdoo, 2 titles, and MVP. MVP is huge on your inclusion on this list. How do you not make the list as MVP?
Because
First
I'll tell you
team,
what.
first
Oh yeah,
team, a second team, rookie of the year, 3-time scoring champion. Come on. Durant's
only
in the top
rookie,
10 with 4, and he has 3, and this guy's not on
only
here.
rookie in NBA history to be the rookie of the year and the scoring champion.
His career
Bob McAdoo.
stats: 22, 9, and a block and a half per game.
Now, we need to talk about that 1 second. The second act of McAdoo's career, he was a six-man. He was a six-man for the Lakers. He was a six-man for the Sixers. Bob's problem was Bob complained a lot, I think, and that pissed people off. He rubbed, and very similarly to Kareem. Kareem, until the last 15 years, was almost forgotten in the Mount Rushmore of basketball because he did not get along with the media. Bob got along with the media. He didn't get along with Red Auerbach, and that is a death sentence in 1979. Anyway, Bob McAdoo, please, never again. This was the one thing in NBA. I've spoken to him at length about this. He's still, we're going to have him on, Bobby, after one of these, just to bitch about and then gloat about being on this list.
George McCann.
George McGinnis?
McCann.
He must go because I don't know who he is. George Mikan, dude.
Mikan.
George Mikan.
You're going to get me on some of these older guys.
The NBA's first dynasty, the NBA's first real superstar, Minneapolis Lakers. He is the reason the Lakers are tied with us in titles, 5 championships in the 50s. He was Superman. He was on TV. He was a superstar. And Mikan doesn't have his number retired at the Staples Center.
Form's
so
still
why
there.
do those championships count?
Form's still there for now. I don't know.
Form is still there. Why do those championships count? Dr. Bust did not.
It's the same franchise.
It's not the same franchise. It's 2 different cities, 2 different owners.
The LA Lakers, when they moved, were an expansion franchise, brand new. Or did the same players come over?
Yeah, no, I mean the players came over, but it was not. It was in a different city. I mean, it's named after a lake, Minneapolis Lakers. I mean, where's there a lake in LA?
Other franchises did that.
I mean,
St. Louis Hawks.
St. Louis Hawks, but they didn't have any. Well, I don't think they brought championships over. Did they bring it over to Atlanta?
I think. Yeah.
I'd be like, listen, the whole Minneapolis thing. If we want to say that, then retire the goddamn guy's number. Because George Mikan is the original star of the NBA. He can't be removed from the list. And if you're going to honor his championships, you got to put him in your rafters or at least give him a statue.
By the way,
if you're going to give Pau Gasol one.
We greatly underestimated.
What were you calling him? George McCann?
I'm sorry. These older guys are going to get me. That's why you're here, Nick. I'd be screwed without you.
I'm going, who?
We're going to come back at 8 because this is taking forever, and we don't want to understate this. We do have another program coming up here on CLNS Media at 7:30.
Well, we have a pregame from Fenway Park with John Zanis and Sean McAdoo from Boston Sports Journal.
All right.
Yeah, man, they're giving it all to you.
We'll hand that over to them in just 7 minutes here, but we'll keep rolling and get as many of these as we can.
Maybe what we should do is while they're running their thing, we could record ours.
Oh yeah,
and then release it on demand as a live to tape.
No, we'll bounce back here at 8. We'll come back at 8 and finish these off.
I may have a little buzz at 8. I may be like this doing a selfie video at 8, but I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good to know. We got pregame Red Sox at 7:30 here in just a few minutes, so we'll keep knocking some of these off. I actually have some good ones to add before we get out of here. Ooh, this one's good, but I'm gonna save it for the second half. I know someone who's gonna be on here because I saw the intro video that the NBA did, which was very cool. Gary Payton will be in addition to this list.
He needs to be on there for sure. Absolutely, the glove, former Celtic. Yes.
Great appearance in the NBA's promo video of this stopping the bus.
I want to mention one thing. We're coming back, so let me just take us off track. One of the Easter eggs I've been talking about in that Celtics commercial, if you notice, at one point the narrator says, "We win championships in our own city." That's a dig at Minneapolis and LA.
Man,
there's a bunch of Easter eggs.
I think Gary Payton's son is out there still. I'd love for him to join the Celtics in this open spot. Now, he's supposed to be a really good defender, too.
Where's he playing?
Free agent. Let's get him to Boston. All right, 9 All-Stars, 2 first teams, 5 second teams, 2 third teams for Gary Payton. Defensive Player of the Year, 9 all-defensive first teams, along with the NBA steals leader in 96. Man, was he great.
He was
on
good.
the defensive end of the floor. You know me, I love defense. We are adding another very surprising miss to this list in the top 50 originally. So this is our 14th edition here. We're going to fight on one of those. But Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, he should be there.
He should be there.
Yeah. If you're going to put Barkley, you got to put Wilkins.
Paul Pierce.
He's there in my new
list. Put him
list.
on there. One of the best shooters of all time.
Champion. One of the best clutch players of all time.
One of the best Celtics ever, too. We'll see if...
he's on my top 15. Maybe. No, he is. He is. You know my top 15, I think.
Yeah, so we will be back at 8:01, right on the dot.
So, Bobby, maybe should we do this on... You want to do it here, not Instagram?
Yeah, no, we'll finish off here. I kind of want to have this recorded so we can chop it up and everything like that.
Maybe in a different location and not... Because I do have somewhere I've got to be, but I will definitely cease and come back for this.
All right. Let's rip off a few more here, but right before we get out of here. Staying, Walt Frazier.
Yep.
Willis Reed.
That was a tough one, but he's got to stay just because he beat up the entire Lakers team by himself, like literally physically. Did you ever see that film?
No.
Well, I'll send it to you. It's buried. The NBA hid it for many years, and there's a cool story about Phil Jackson running into it.
Oh, my God, the fights that there used to be in the league.
It's really creepy, dude. Like, he literally takes out the entire... I'll send it after the show when we have a break in between.
James Worthy.
Yes.
He is staying. Pete Maravich. Another short career, but he stays.
A reasonably long career. I mean, so with 10 years?
Yeah.
10 good years.
Got hurt at the end, though.
Yeah, but he played a good season for the Celtics.
Ooh,
with Bird and Max.
We are almost to the point where I'm running out of guys who are staying. So we might have some debates when
going that you missed.
When we get back. The 2 left.
Missed a couple going. What about Paul Larson?
He is not staying for mine.
Not staying on mine either. And I'm on the fence with Billy Cunningham and Dave DeBusschere.
How about Dave Bing?
Dave Bing's got to stay, and Dave Bing probably has one of the more really original entrepreneur after
forget about career. That.
Bing Steel. Well, that's all LeBron cared about his first couple of years until he got the $1 billion contract. Dolph Shades goes.
We agree on that.
I'll figure out the rest once we come back. I mean, Bing's got to stay. One thing that's kind of I'm on the fence with a little bit is he's probably going to end up staying because he belongs there, but Hal Greer is a tough one to keep.
I didn't have him. I got 2 more on my list. Ready for them? Who are staying?
Mm-hmm.
Bob Cousy.
Must.
He is staying. And Elvin Hayes.
The Big E, dude. You ain't removing Elvin Hayes. Are you kidding me? That dude.
So start thinking.
One of the more...
Start thinking. Everybody else who was on the top 50 list, the original top 50, is out on mine, including teaser for when we come back. Robert Parrish. I know you're not gonna like that one.
Are you out of your mind?
He didn't make the cut. We had to cut it somewhere.
What about my cut? I have to make the case for Chief when we come back, don't I?
We're gonna make all those cases
I might call
and fight
him
over
and have
some
him
finals.
come on the show and tell us why.
I didn't want to leave him out. They just came down to the numbers. Dave Cowens too. Oh, that was hard to leave off too. Yeah.
There's so many other players.
We're gonna come. We're gonna come back and debate all of these. Hey, I got a lot of players to add. Just wait till you see some of the names I'm bringing to the table when we get back. You're not gonna like them.
I didn't even add mine yet.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna fight over when we get back. 8 o'clock.
We'll
We're gonna continue our talk on the top 75.
Twitter.
Make sure you watch this Red Sox pregame show.
Yeah, and sub to our channels, including the History Channel, Celtics All Access, CLNS, and now that Red Sox channel's cranking with it stuff. Go Red Sox, even though I'm a Yankees fan.
Oh, I'm so excited for that game. And I wish I was there. World Series feels within reach. 3 more wins. I've been loving this
It's a
team
great
all
thing
year.
about fall baseball is you could hate baseball all year long, but when it comes to the fall, you don't know what's going to happen. The Red Sox.
I
should
gotta
not
say
be
this
in
before John takes the mic here. John and Jimmy in our chat all year. Oh, this Red Sox team stinks. Oh, I haven't watched
Wait
the
a minute.
game all year. This is terrible. I can't wait
John
to
and
hear
Jimmy
John.
agreed. They agreed on something.
I can't wait to hear John all excited now on the mic here for this pregame show. But I'm excited for that. Sean McAdam, John, they're about to take the mic here. And oh man, the atmosphere. I went to game 3 of the Rays series. They're letting a lot of college students into the game on the student tickets. The atmosphere in Fenway is incredible right now. Nobody even got out of their seats for 13 innings in that game. I'm gonna do a Red Sox thing later this week.
And you know what, Bobby? Boston needed that. The world needs good baseball. It saved us from 9/11, right? I mean, got your mind off.
Fenway
of
was
things.
empty all last year. I'm writing an article about this now. My friend moved to Southie and he has a rooftop. And all last year for the 2 months that they played baseball, you'd look down toward the city, see Fenway, and you'd be like, "Oh, nobody's there." And I didn't watch at all. How could you?
It's a sport where you need, especially this time of year, you need the fans. But I think during the regular season, empty stadiums isn't most.
But complete. That's true.
And
Yeah,
I know
not Fenway though. Not
It
Fenway
was
though.
every sports team. I mean, basketball, I think, really was the most impacted by no fans.
All right, we will be back at 8:01. Garden Report, Dome Theory, continuing to count down the top 75. I think we've reached about like 40, 50 or so at this point. So we're going to really start cutting at the edges now when we get back here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in a half hour.
What I should have to drink in between, all right?